This is John Cola with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you. And first off, what I want to say is that we take returns very seriously here at Discount Juicers. And when we hear there are inherent defects in different juicers that we offer, so we constantly are in contact with the higher-ups at the manufacturing companies to ensure that the problems, if are recognized, are definitely addressed and corrected as soon as possible. So today's episode is going to be about a defective unit we got back. Right here we have the Omega Vert 350 that we got back on a return. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and unbox it and then show you guys what's going on with it. So probably the biggest thing that I need to say about the Omega Vert juicer, and the biggest complaint actually we get, which not necessarily is a defect, is that it creates a very pulpy juice. We advertise this actually on the web page where we sell it. It says creates a rich, full-bodied, pulpy juice. And you know, some other dealers may try to hide this and may BS you. I'm going to tell you straight like it is so that you can determine if this is going to be the juicer for you or this is not going to be the juicer for you. That being said, if you don't use the Omega Vert properly, then the pulp issues are exacerbated because they're worsened actually a lot by not proper use. So let's see, let's go ahead and open this guy up and see what we got. Got a lot of packing material, and one of the things in here that comes with the juicer is the instruction booklet. And in the instruction booklet, one of the problems with the Omega Vert, and if there was an inherent defect, the defect is actually in the instruction booklet. It doesn't actually properly let you guys know how to use the juicer the best way possible. It has some pretty basic directions, says, you know, put the produce in there and whatnot, and you know, it doesn't go into fine detail like you should be doing to get the optimal and most pulp-free results every single time. So for that reason alone, recommend you throw away the instruction book. You also may want to read it. You know, it does have a lot of good info, but you want to check my videos. Omega Vert Best Practices. Do a YouTube search for that video and watch that video, and that'll explain you in detail how to use the Vert to get the least amount of pulp in your juice first time through. Let's see, in addition, we got some paperwork here. Let's see what the customer says here. Customer's saying that it's leaking underneath the bowl and has a broken strainer. So let's check this out and see what's going on. So let's see here. So the juicer comes with two collection bowls. One's for the juice catch and one's for the pulp catch. And next, the juicer comes with a pusher. And that's the other thing, you know, if you do get the Omega Vert juicer, one of the things you actually don't want to do is use the pusher. If you are using the pusher, which there's evidence of using the pusher on this machine, if you're using the pusher, you're probably pushing things in too quickly into the machine, and also you're probably not cutting them appropriately, because you should not have to use the pusher to push things into the machine. This is only used if produce is lodged in there and you need to get it unstuck. So first clue that this machine was not used properly. So here's the main juicing body of the machine, and you can see this juicer hasn't been well cleaned. It's got some particulate in there. Go ahead and take this guy apart. Show some good sign of use there. Let's go ahead and take this guy out. And I see a lot of caking on. You know, I highly encourage you guys to clean your juicer right after every single use. Don't let the produce cake on, because that could cause further problems in the future. If you do get caking on, like they haven't cleaned this too well, you would soak it in some hot water and OxyClean overnight and then scrub it down really well. Now, one of the reasons why this leaks on the main body is because if this seal either goes bad or you're not using the juicer properly. If you're not using the juicer properly, pulp gets literally clogged up in here. The pulp can't come out. The juice has to go somewhere, so it's going to leak down the seal here. Sometimes by changing the way you're juicing in the Omega Vert, by following the best practices, or putting a little bit of food grade oil, like some olive oil, on this little seal here, it might help out a little bit. But even better, got to use the juicer properly. So that's this bowl piece. Looks all right. Next piece is the wiping blade, which looks to be in okay condition. Once again, just a little bit dirty. The next part is the juicing screen. So this is where I see a huge problem. This juicing screen is cracked. Now, this is the 8 times harder Ultim juicing screen that actually I've never seen a crack before personally. This is the first time I've seen a crack on it. And you know, I'm not exactly sure why that happened at this point. Oh, it looks like they maybe were feeding some coconut in here, some dried coconut. So don't recommend putting dried coconut in through the vert. This machine has only been designed for juicing, and other uses may void your warranty. So if you do want to process dry coconut, you do need to use the Omega 8006 or 8004, which is approved and designed to do that kind of process. Let's see here. So next, that's the juicing screen. Definitely has been broken, probably due to feeding things in that's not supposed to be fed into the machine. The auger here looks all right, although I do see a lot of wear at the bottom. Now the wear at the bottom, what that indicates to me is that the machine was basically overstuffed with stuff and it wasn't ejecting it properly. Another indicator also is the juicing motor itself. This is the other juicing screen, which is not the Ultim. This appears to be brand new and never used. But another indicator we can tell how the machine was used was by the motor. And you can see here on the motor, there's a lot of drips and stains near the shaft of the motor. This means that for some reason, juice was escaping out of the bowl for some reason, whether the little plug in here, let me show you the plug there, whether this plug here was left out, which you should never do when juicing. You always need to have this plug firmly plugged in. What this yellow rubber flap does, it keeps the pulp inside the machine to get the most extraction possible. If you leave it out, that'll let all the pulp through, but then also it'll leak out on your juicer. So that's one way that it could be leaking. The other way is if you get such a backup in here and the pulp starts, or the juice starts to leak out of this center seal here. So by the looks of it and by the evidence here on the motor shaft and right below the motor shaft, a lot of different juice was leaking on it. In addition, if we look at the feet, we could see, you know, on the feet area, when juice spills over on the counter, it'll sit in the juice, and we could see some juice on the feet and actually stuck onto the case of the bottom of the unit. So you might be thinking, John, so what went on in this particular situation? Well, you know, I don't have any control once we sell the juicer and the customer gets the juicer and how they choose to use it in their kitchen. It's completely up to them. But what I can tell you is, in my belief, this juicer was not properly used and potentially abused with the coconut, dried coconut. You can't be putting things in that are not supposed to be put into the juicer. Number one, the Omega Vert juicers have been designed only for juicing. Now, Omega has allowed doing things like making nut milks, nut butters, and sorbets, but any other uses will definitely probably void your warranty. So I don't recommend that, such as the use they're using it for. In addition, that'll blow out your screen, which, you know, this is the 8 times harder screen. I've abused this screen so much, and I've never gotten it to break like this. So purely when it's breaking like this, you're using something that's not supposed to be, or you're putting a lot of leafy greens in without properly cutting them and feeding them too quickly and trying to just shove things through when it's just jammed up. I have many videos on how to ensure your juicer doesn't jam up, how to get it unstuck if it does jam up, you know, how to get it unclogged, how to make a more pulp-free juice. And I would encourage you guys, if you are interested in buying the Omega Vert juicer, to watch all those videos so that you will know the proper techniques to use in the Omega Vert so you can be successful juicing in it every single time. If you don't want to do that, guess what? This is going to happen, and the manufacturer, you know, is probably not going to honor the warranty in this case, seeing that there's, you know, coconut shreds left in here. So that being said, you know, the biggest complaint about the Omega Vert is that it does make a pulpy juice. We advertise it to this effect. And if you juice properly in it, cutting everything up finely, feeding things at a slow and moderate pace, especially picking out nice and firm and fresh produce, for example, no soft apples, you'll make an apple sauce instead of an apple juice, then you're going to get good results. And you'll get the minimal pulp in your juice. That being said, if you do want less pulp in your juice, you can what's called rejuice your juice after it comes out of the machine. Pour it back through the machine, provided that you juice properly and you don't have a backup situation. Be sure to check my other videos on YouTube on rejuicing your juice to reduce the pulp. That's the technique I often use. Or the other technique that's really easy is that very simply just get a standard strainer. You know, these things are $1 or $2 at the Walmart, and pour your juice through the strainer after you're done. It'll strain out the juice, and then you'll have a pulp-free juice. Sometimes, you may want the pulp in your juice, and some people don't mind the pulp in your juice. The pulp in your juice is great. It's a little bit of pulp, not going to hurt you. And in some studies, I have seen that pulp in the juice does help to preserve the nutrition in the juice longer. So once again, with every juicer, there's always pros and cons. Probably the biggest con of the Omega Vert juicer is that it does put a little pulp in your juice, and actually the instruction manual that comes with it, not too good. But if you take a look at my other videos to see how to use it properly, highly confident that you're not going to have a busted screen like the customer did in this video. So hopefully you guys enjoy this episode, and it lets you know more about the Omega Vert and some of the potential problems and defects that you can have if you don't use it properly. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.